Let's get set for a great week ahead. Join me today as I put together a few recipes that I'll be able to provide for my picky toddler to make sure he's getting in those vegetables that he definitely needs. I'll then be cleaning up the kitchen, making sure it's all clean from all the cooking that I'm doing and ready for the week. Then I'll be ending the video by doing some planning. Today I'm going to be planning out my grocery list, going through the refrigerator and the pantry, making sure that it is ready for the week and I have on my list everything that I'll need from the store. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope this gives you lots of homemaking motivation. Today's Sunday reset, I'm going to start off by making some toddler-friendly recipes to try to increase my son's vegetable intake throughout the week. One of my biggest challenges, and I'm sure if you are a mom, you have faced this challenge or are going through the same challenge currently with your children, is their vegetable intake. My son does not eat hardly any vegetables whatsoever. If you put them on his plate, especially if there's something green, they immediately come off the plate. They can't even sit on the plates. They have no room for him whatsoever. So I have had to resort to sneaking them in recipes and food items and smoothies that I know he will consume, so he is at least getting all the healthy benefits from vegetables that his body does need. One of my biggest ways of doing that is through a daily shake that I make him. I add a chocolate protein because he is a chocolate guy. Anything chocolate he will love. So I always make sure that there's chocolate in it. I pack it with spinach. If I don't have spinach, I will use kale and he'll drink either. I usually get a huge pack of spinach, so I make sure he gets all those leafy greens that he needs. And then I'll add sometimes cucumber, avocado. I've added cauliflower because it doesn't change the color or really the texture into the shake as well, to try to really boost his vegetable intake throughout the day. So most days he will have a shake. Then I'll also, like this week, this is like the end of the week, beginning of the new week, I have all of these food items that need to be used up. I did get the butternut squash specifically for my son. I usually get a butternut squash at least once a month, and I bake it in the oven. I'll show you that. Just cut it in half, take the seeds out, bake it in the oven, and then I put it in the blender, and then I'll put it in ice cube trays, put it in the freezer, and I use the cubed butternut squash in a lot of different recipes, especially when I make him mac and cheese, because we know kids just love mac and cheese. It's like one of their main food groups, right? So whenever I make him mac and cheese, I'll put a few cubes of butternut squash in, and it makes the mac and cheese so creamy and good, and he honestly prefers it that way. And then I know for sure he's getting a vegetable as well as his mac and cheese. So I will do that today. I'll bake this up and get the freezer cubes made out of this. Then I do have an avocado. It's on the soft side, which is perfect. I'm gonna make a chocolate pudding with this avocado. I've made it a few times now at this point, and it has been so good. I like it, my son likes it. We just eat it plain, and I've also been adding like a scoop of it into his smoothie, and it makes the best texture for the smoothie. So I'll show you how to make that too. And then I have a zucchini and some bananas, so I'm gonna make a zucchini banana bread too. He's been really loving banana bread, and since I have this zucchini, I figured might as well just add it all together, make the bread, have an extra hidden vegetable. So I'm going to make these three items to get us started here with our Sunday reset to boost my son's nutrient intake, especially in the vegetable department. I've already preheated the oven. I'm going to get this butternut squash cut in half so that it can go in the oven at the same time that I put the bread in. So they should be cooking at the same time and be done pretty much the same time as well. I'm starting off by putting some parchment paper here on the cookie sheet. I always bundle it all up, crumple it all up so then it lays flat. It takes away that like curl that it naturally has from being in the container. It'll lay perfectly flat. So if you have not tried that or heard of that little tip, definitely start doing that. It makes a world of difference. So I just cut off the ends of this so then I can sit it up straight and just have a nice smooth cut all the way down the middle. I find this to be the easiest way to cut it because butternut squash can be very tricky to cut. I'm also going to take out the seeds and then just lay it with the skin side up and put it in the oven and let it roast. I don't add anything to it. I don't do any olive oil, salt, or pepper. I just put it in plain. And then once it's done cooking, I will put it in the blender. Then to put in little freezer cubes in the freezer so that I can utilize it throughout the month. Now I'm getting the banana bread all put together. I'm just doing all the dry ingredients here in this bowl, just add it in as the recipe calls for. Baking, you need to do exact measurements or it won't come out correctly. I will leave this recipe linked in the description box, which is a little box down underneath the video if you're not familiar with that. It will have a bunch of links in there, description of the video, and different information that you can find there. I will put the recipe for this and also the chocolate pudding in my description bar so you can try these recipes for yourself. I'm adding all of the wet ingredients to the mixer. I'm adding 3 bananas, vanilla, eggs, and this recipe I like because it calls for olive oil. My son does have eczema, so I try to find recipes that have more oils in them so that his skin is just getting like moisturized from the inside out. Do you have recipes with hidden vegetables that your kids enjoy? If you do, I'd love to hear more. Please leave them in the comments down below. I am always on the hunt for good recipes to provide my toddler. I always peel the skin off the zucchini before I grate it. The peel is very tough, so you shouldn't bake with it. It just will stand out and be like chewy in the bread. So just quickly peel it and then grate it up. I do have this hand grater. It works out so well. It makes making this recipe a breeze. Now I'm combining the dry and wet ingredients, adding in the shredded zucchini and also the chocolate chips. I didn't show it, but I did drain out as much of the water from the zucchini as I could using a cheesecloth. If you don't have a cheesecloth, just use like a clean kitchen towel. Get out as much of the water from the zucchini as possible so that it bakes well and you don't have too moist of a banana bread. I've recently been adding parchment paper to my loaf pan as well. It has been so nice and makes taking the bread out of the pan after it's done baking so much easier. It comes out so smooth. I'll show you a clip of that when I take it out of the oven. But I do the same thing, just crumple it up so then it lays a little bit more flat. It is a little bit tricky to get it all in there, but just do the best you can and then drop the batter in and it kind of just all falls into place. I do rip off some of the edges so they don't burn because the parchment paper kind of comes out a little bit darker when you take it out, so it makes me a little nervous that it's actually going to burn. But try this trick. I'm sure it's going to make baking bread so much easier. So while the banana bread and butternut squash are in the oven, I know you're thinking, why are you baking in summer and have your oven going? We have central air in here and it is freezing in here. I honestly could put a sweatshirt on, so it's simple for me to bake in the summer since we do have the central air. So that's why, if you're curious about that. But while that is happening, let's move on to making this avocado pudding. It is so easy and so delicious. So this avocado is super soft, so I'm not even gonna need the blender for this, but if you have like firmer avocado, you might need the blender. So I'm just going to cut it in half, squeeze out the avocado from the peel. Peel's like crisp here. Take out the pit. And the other half. And then you need some yogurt. I just have this vanilla Greek yogurt on hand. The recipe calls for vanilla, but since this is already vanilla, I'm not going to add the vanilla. If you are using regular Greek yogurt, just plain, then add the vanilla like the recipe calls for. I'll have the recipe linked in the description bar, which is right below this video. And then 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. And 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. It's chocolate pudding, so it's supposed to be sweet. And for a toddler, you know, they all have sweet tooth. And that is it. And then just mix it all together and it literally comes out just like pudding. Like I said, if you are using a more firm avocado, you might need to put this in the blender. If not, just give it a really good mix. Like I'm gonna do, and I'm making a mess because I should have put this in a bowl, but I'm trying to put it in the container that I want it in the fridge because we're not gonna eat this right away. It does say that this only makes 2 servings, so keep that in mind too. If you want to make more for like the whole week, then just like double, quadruple, whatever the recipe so that you have enough. Or just make it as you're going to serve it, however you would like. Yeah, just like pudding, and it is so good. So you will enjoy this if you are a chocolate lover as well, and I'm sure your kids are gonna love it too. Now that we've made a mess of the kitchen, let's get it all cleaned up so that our week is starting out well. I'm going to start by spraying down all of the counters, making sure those are all nice and clean. I'm just using the Scentivia Clorox spray. It's in the coconut scent. It is my absolute favorite. It makes the house smell like the beach, and who doesn't want that while they're cleaning? I'm gonna get all the dishes cleaned and put away while everything is baking. I love to do this and make sure everything's just put away as soon as you're done using it. I'm not somebody who likes to have dishes piled in the sink. That honestly drives me crazy. So as soon as I am able and have time, I usually make sure that I'm cleaning the dishes in the sink and getting them put away so that my sink is just all cleaned out and ready to use. It makes the whole kitchen feel so much cleaner right away when you have a clean sink. While I'm cleaning the dishes, leave a comment down below letting me know what types of things you'd like to get done to start your week out on the right foot. What are your typical Sunday reset go-tos? I have a lot of Sunday reset videos on my channel so far. I've been really enjoying liking them, and you all seem to be really enjoying to see them, so I have been making them to post every Tuesday. And then on Fridays, I post cleaning videos, all kinds of different things. For the month of July, I do have whole house cleaning videos planned in different parts because I just had so much cleaning to get done, so it just made sense to kind of do them all in different parts. But leave your comments down below letting me know what you do on a Sunday reset. The banana bread and butternut squash are done baking. This is how easy it is to take the banana bread out with parchment paper. So if you have not started doing that while baking, definitely try it the next time you make a bread. I'm sure it will make your life so much easier. And then just throw the parchment paper away and you are all done with the cleanup for the most part too. I always do clean my pan again just because I get a little worried that it's going to drip through. For the butternut squash, I'm just going to use a fork to get all of the squash off of the skin and put it right into the blender to get this all blended up. Sometimes I do have to add a little bit of water so that it blends smoothly, but this time I didn't have to do that. So just keep that in mind if you're blending up vegetables. If it's not turning out as smooth as you'd like, just add a little water. Now the butternut squash is all blended and smooth. I'm going to add it to this ice cube tray. It's just a silicone ice cream tray I got from Amazon. It came in a pack of 3. I got them when my son was a baby and he was starting to eat more solid foods. This is how I always made all of his baby food. I just made it myself in these little ice cube trays, and then when it was time for him to eat, I'd take out a few cubes, and I had a variation of different vegetables and fruits that I would blend up. I never did any meat or anything. I thought that'd be kind of weird. And my son, he's now 2. He really doesn't prefer to eat meat at all. We've tried a few things and there isn't any meat that he likes. He does like fish a lot, so that's good. But if you do have a baby that is going to be eating solids and you want to try to make it yourself, it is very easy to do. And I still do it with the butternut squash, even though my son is 2. I love using these cubes in foods to help him get more vegetables. Here is a little clip of all of the 3 foods that I made with hidden vegetables today. Everything came out so great and my son has definitely been enjoying them. The cubes I will stick in the freezer. They'll just stay in the freezer so I can grab them out whenever I want to use them. The avocado pudding and banana bread have been really great treats for him. So I hope these are some good ideas that you can use to make some foods for your kids to increase their vegetable intake. Now I'm quickly going to get together our grocery list for the week. This is the next day. It's actually Sunday morning before we head off to church. I just want to quickly go through the refrigerator and the pantry, figure out what's in there that needs to be cleaned out. We unfortunately did have some things that just needed to be tossed, and also figure out what needs to be added to our grocery list so we have that all ready to go whenever we're able to go to the grocery store. On this day after church, we are headed over to my grandparents' house. They have a beautiful pool and my cousins are there, my nieces and nephews. Our whole family goes, and it is just so much fun to spend the afternoons by the pool in the summer, especially since it's been like 90 degrees out. So that's a plan for today. After, sometimes we do go to the grocery store, sometimes not. This day we ended up not going to the grocery store. It just waited till the next day, so I won't have a grocery haul for you today, but if you're curious, go back to last week's Sunday Reset. You'll see it in there. We did pick up some meats from the local butcher shop. One is like a Chinese ribs. We're gonna have that for one night, where I'll make some vegetables. I'm probably gonna do zucchini, summer squash, and sweet potato with some rice. And then the other one is a teriyaki steak. We'll do a beef and broccoli. I'm so excited. It's gonna be a nice switch up from our typical meals to have the meats already prepared. We just gotta quickly cook them up. This week was very busy for us. We had lots of activities and things planned, so our grocery shopping had to wait till a few days later. So that's why I won't have a grocery haul for you today. And then now I'm just doing the same thing, going through the pantry, gathering everything that I need to put on our grocery list, so that whenever we're able to go to the grocery store, I have my list all prepared. I hope you enjoyed this video. It gave you lots of homemaking motivation and some ideas for your little kids. If you have not yet, go back and check out my other Sunday resets. I also have a Whole House Clean With Me series going on right now on Friday, so make sure to subscribe to not miss out on any video that I post every Tuesday and Friday.